Hi, this is Doug Maitland. I'm the manager of the Acquisition Services Section, Office of Real Estate for the Ohio Department of Transportation. And today we're going to discuss the module, the Appraisal Scoping Checklist, and the Value Analysis Report. When an ODOT highway project requires rights-of-way to be acquired, that acquisition process requires an estimate of compensation by the acquiring agency before the initiation of negotiations. And the estimate of compensation requires an appraisal or a valuation process. One of the first steps in the valuation process is for the agency to assess the complexity of the valuation problem caused by the severance of the part taken from the whole property. Determining the complexity of the valuation problem at the beginning of the valuation process assists the agency to determine the scope of work needed in the appraisal assignment and the skill level needed for the assignment, including appraisal and appraisal review, the time and cost for the valuation process, the propensity that the parcel may be appropriated, and the need to have an Assistant Attorney General provide guidance regarding what is or is not compensable, or if an element of damage is evident. The valuation methods that will need to be used to produce viable and reasonable estimates of value, or the appraisal and valuation format that needs to be used. The Appraisal Scoping Checklist is used by ODOT to document the complexity of the valuation assignment, and it must be completed at the beginning of the valuation assignment on all parcels where an estimate of compensation is needed. This includes the value analysis report, the value finding report, or the right-of-way appraisal report. The Appraisal Scoping Checklist is used by ODOT as a meaningful assessment of the pertinent issues surrounding the severance of the part taken from the whole, so that all parties agree what the issues are to be addressed in the appraisal and the scope of work needed for that. The Appraisal Scoping Checklist allows ODOT to comply with the federal requirement that is in 49 CFR 24.103 subparagraph A, which is the agency acquiring real property has a legitimate role in contributing to the appraisal process, especially in developing the scope of work and defining the appraisal problem. Also, the agency has the responsibility to assure that the appraisals it obtains are relevant to its program needs. These regulations require ODOT to participate in defining the valuation problem, developing the scope of work needed for the valuation problem based on the complexity of the problem, and assuring the appraisals ODOT receives are relevant to its program needs. ODOT uses the Appraisal Scoping Checklist to implement the above referenced regulations. It's time for a knowledge check.